The single fastest way to improve as an REBT therapist. After years as an REBT supervisor, I have learned that the most basic error REBT therapists make is that they don't grasp the relationships among key components of this form of therapy. Without knowing these key components and how to apply them in real-life cases, the therapy is often unfocused and off the mark, thereby slowing down or impeding the psychotherapy. What are these key components? They are identifying the emotion the client wants to work on, the inference or thought that sets the stage for this emotion, the beliefs that directly cause the emotion, and the behaviors associated with the emotion. If one key element is not identified and implemented, the therapy suffers. For example, let's say that Joshua is anxious about having to deliver a lecture in front of his entire university. REBT teaches that the context of anxiety is that the anxious individual perceives something as a threat. In the case of Joshua, he perceives the threat as the negative judgment he might get from those who will be listening to him. The set of anxiety-producing beliefs always include at least one demand, such as in this case, Joshua might demand that his talk not be negatively judged by those who listen to it. Other possible beliefs associated with anxiety are frustration intolerance, which is that the individual believes that he couldn't stand it if he was negatively judged by the audience. He might also have awfulizing, which in this case would be that it would be awful if he was negatively judged by the audience. Finally, a possible belief might be that he would be a failure if the audience negatively judged his lecture. Once one has identified the dysfunctional emotion, the inference, and the dysfunctional beliefs, the task is to identify the potential behavior associated with the emotion. In the case of anxiety, the most likely behavior would be avoidance. So, Joshua might want to cancel delivering the speech, or run out of the lecture hall after the lecture so no one speaks to him. Knowing the beliefs, the therapist could easily develop some cognitive interventions to replace the dysfunctional beliefs with more functional ones. Also, knowing the most likely behavior associated with anxiety, the therapist could develop a behavioral intervention that is based on exposure. In the case of Joshua, the therapist might practice with Joshua how to stay in the unpleasant situation and develop a tolerance for his discomfort rather than avoid giving a lecture. So, learning one skill, which in REBT is called the conceptualization of emotion, would greatly improve one's performance as an REBT therapist. Want to learn how to do a conceptualization of emotion and develop a solid treatment plan that effectively addresses the dysfunctional inferences, beliefs, and behaviors? Then consider attending a lecture or a training program at the Albert Ellis Institute. Become the best REBT therapist you can be by learning from the experts in REBT. Want to talk to someone at the Albert Ellis Institute?
Simply call 212-535-0822 during business hours.